Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Wednesday, June 30th. And this local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow you. A suspected car thief is arrested after a welfare check. Amy Cherry has the story.
On Monday, deputies were called to a 7-Eleven on Moody Boulevard, where a vehicle was left running and stolen. Around that same time, deputies got a call about a suspicious person at the Beach Village Apartments. Later, they got a call from a father who wanted a welfare check on his son. Sheriff Rick Staley says that man's son turned out to be their alleged car thief.
When deputies arrived on the scene of the welfare check, the individual said, "Oh, you're probably here because of the gray truck," admitting that he had taken the vehicle without permission. And in fact, he still had a stereo knob from the vehicle on him.
Police charged 25-year-old William Kitts with grand theft auto, and he's going back to a familiar place, jail.
He's been previously charged in Flagler County for burglary, possession of marijuana, sexual battery, felony child abuse, trespassing after warning, resisting an officer without violence, disorderly intoxication, narcotics, and criminal mischief. Clearly, being on drugs makes him do stupid things that constantly land him in jail. He needs to turn his life around and quit preying on this community.
Kitts is being held on a $2,500 bond. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Amy Cherry.
Flagler County's newest library branch will serve as more than just a library. John Arking explains.
The new library will be constructed on about 5 acres of land near the county's Government Services Center off Commerce Parkway. It will replace the existing Bunnell Library branch on Moody Boulevard. County Administrator Jerry Cameron told commissioners last week it will also be a community gathering place that will accommodate vaccination and pandemic testing, as well as a forum for the arts and technology education.
The pandemic has told us that there are a lot of things that we do that in a pandemic we have to do differently, whether it's social distancing or a mask or whatever the protocol may be in those situations. But to set up a community center component to that library that would allow flow-through for vaccinations, flow-through for testing without compromising the people doing the testing or the people that go there to be tested.
Cameron says it would also allow for an emergency voting center if needed. Commissioners unanimously approved a contract for just over $42,000 with Rhodes and Brito Architects for architectural engineering services on the facility, which will be called the Flagler County Library Administrative Headquarters in Bunnell Branch and Public Health Mitigation and Prevention Center. It would also include an outdoor stage, a commercial kitchen, a youth services area, meeting space, a showering facility, and possibly even a cafe or food court. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arkin.
Restoration of Bunnell's most visible and iconic landmark nears completion. City Manager Alvin Jackson tells WNZF the city's 110-foot water tower, towering over Utility Street, looks a lot sharper these days.
The painting is completed, and the final step is actually to put the city logo on there, which should happen any day now. But they did a great job with that. It took a little while. It's a big project, but it's done. And once we get the logo, it truly represents the city of Bunnell and its historic positioning here in Flagler County.
The historic water tower dates back to 1926 and holds 75,000 gallons of water. You're never too young to help better the environment, as Flagler County's attorney recently discovered. Rich Petchke has the details.
Al Hadid was at the beach on Father's Day and tells us what he saw.
I witnessed 2 young kids in the surf. It was low tide, and I could see that they were picking up trash along that tide line and in the eddies among the coquina rock. When I came back, you walk one way, then you turn around and walk back. They were trying to pull a tire out where it was submerged.
Hadid says the 10 and 11-year-olds did get that tire out with some adult help.
They brought it up on the beach. It was full of sediment. Small shells had already formed on it. It was really hard to touch. They were intent on getting it off the beach, and they rolled it up to a point so that the county employees could pick it up on a trash run.
The attorney says the kids' actions set a great example for everyone to follow.
True stewards, very unselfish, and essentially leaving the beach better than they found it.
For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Rich Petchke.
Homelessness became a concern for many when the COVID-19 pandemic hit.
That's because they had not worked and could not afford to pay rent or bills. But Devery Paradowski, Flagler County's former housing program coordinator, says that SHIP has a lot to offer.
So with down payment assistance, we do record a mortgage for people that they don't ever have to pay. Right now, they're at 15-year terms. So they would apply with us, and then they would go to a home buyer education class, so they're learning what they need to know about buying a home.
Paradowski said home buyers improve their credit scores, apply for a mortgage, and get the help they need to become homeowners. The Flagler Voice, where this interview came from, is on WNZF on Saturday mornings at 8:30. You can also listen to the podcast on the Flagler radio app. Tomorrow, Paradowski talks about how COVID affected social services. From the WNZF newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.